Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host, Ahmed Nawaz, with the latest roundup of sports today. Once again, a great lineup. We're going to be sharing some spectacular memories. I know the weather is amazing in Islamabad, and you're all having a ball, but let's just relive some of the iconic moments of the 2009 T20 World Cup, which, of course, Pakistan was crowned the champions, beating Sri Lanka in the final. 13 years have passed, but still, even today, it feels like we've just won it. The happiness, the joy whenever we see these clips, what you're seeing right now, this iconic six from Shahid Afridi towards mid-wicket against Mutahar Muralidharan, absolutely superb. And then, of course, this one to Chandana on a slower delivery, that too on the mid-wicket region. And that was a hallmark of Afridi's game throughout the tournament. Man of the final, scoring a half-century, beautifully performed. Mohammad Amir with his stellar performance. Of course, it was a treat to watch. And then, of course, the winning runs, as we all know, how Afridi hit them, and Pakistan. The aura of Pakistan was there to shine in England. After that, we'll be moving on to current cricket, one-day international. Sri Lanka versus Australia. The fourth one-day international is underway at the Premadasa Stadium. Sri Lanka already lead the five-match series 2-1. Currently, if you talk about the scoreline, Australia won the toss. They opted to field first. Sri Lanka in 42 overs is 218 for 6. They're absolutely cruising. They're on a good position. Aslanka is on 97 not out, along with Karunaratne, who's on 4 not out. And if you talk about Australia's bowling so far, then Mitchell Marsh has picked up 2 wickets. And then Pat Cummins, Kahneman and Maxwell have picked 1 wicket each so far. Australia's tried a long bowling lineup, but they understand if they lose this one, the series is over for them. And Sri Lanka is going to be confident. They've got the upper hand in the series. If they're defending something close to 280, then me and Asif were just discussing that their spinners have got the quality and they're fielding really well as well. So you never know that they might just take this match. After that, some test cricket. We discussed this as well, and we'll be moving on to explore more opportunities for West Indies as far as test cricket is concerned. They beat Bangladesh by 7 wickets and stellar performance by them. Only a target of 84. Bangladesh disappointing once again. On and off performances from Bangladesh, but the consistency isn't there. And this is really sad for a team that has been very competitive in the past couple of years. And then, of course, moving on to tennis, where Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from the Wimbledon, citing an Achilles injury, and she will no longer be taking part. She's won 4 Grand Slams so far, only 17 matches this season. The ranking has also plummeted to 43. That's the lineup. Time now to introduce our guests. First of all, we've been joined in studios by cricket expert. He's joining us, and we'll be talking to him regarding all that is there for cricket. Sabir Hussain. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir? Good to have you on the show. We've also been joined by cricket commentator and cricket expert K. Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm good, Ahmed.
Thank you for the lovely dal and the beautiful biscuits that we
But one thing is missing, sweets, because we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna memorize the celebration, the crown victory of yes. So where are the sweets? And I think you should ask to Arslan.
No, I'm not, because Asif has put me on a very strict diet, so I'm not at all asking for sweets. But that being the case, gentlemen, let's just recall first of all. Sabir, where were you? Where did you watch the iconic final of 2000?
Well, I was in Islamabad. I mean, obviously, I still remember every match, especially. I mean, the way they won against Ireland, against Netherlands as well. I mean, when they were playing against Ireland, I mean, you know, I had something, I mean, like we lost in 2007, but I mean, again, the new captain, Yunus Khan, he led from the front. I mean, wonderful win against Ireland, against Netherlands, and then the way they played against New Zealand. I mean, who can forget the Yorkers of Omar Gul? You know, I mean, the way, I mean, Shahid Afridi took the responsibility, I mean, and Shoaib Malik as well. You know, I mean, it was all team effort. I mean, the way Saeed Ajmal basically bowled, especially against the Netherlands and Ireland as well. So, I mean, fantastic, I mean, win for Pakistan. It was a much needed, because we have been struggling against, you know, the combination as well, the captaincy issues as well. Obviously, we lost, I mean, 2007 World Cup, Mohammad Asif, Shoaib Akhtar issue, Inzamam ul Haq, Bob Woolmer as well. So, we desperately basically needed a win, and what an iconic win that was. I mean,
Asif, where were you when this iconic moment happened?
Well, actually, I was with my friends, a bunch of friends, you know.
A huge gathering.
Yes, huge gathering. And everyone was pretty much optimistic, because when you got 138 in T20 match against Sri Lanka, you know, and we bowled well. So actually, we have started the celebrations right after the first innings, honestly.
When you got Sangakkara out on 64.
Yeah, so honestly, still we are celebrating. And still, when you memorize the spell of Abdur Razzaq, 3 over 20 for 3. And one thing, it's really amazing, let me share with you. I think I had shared before as well, Abdul Razak said in an interview that I was bowling so nicely. I was on the line and I bowled 3 overs. So I've asked to captain skipper Yunus Khan, my 1 over is remaining, why you're not giving me? So he said, I'm saving your over. And he has saved over till now.
So that over is still left from Abdul Razak.
Still left for Abdul Razak and Pakistan.
He is not retired yet.
But Asif, one thing is very particular. I really wanted to ask this, that Sri Lanka was a quality side. You got to give it to them. A side which has Sanajay Surya, Tilkaratne Dilshan in prime form, Sangakkara, Mahila Jayawardene, Ajanta Mendes, Muralidharan and Malinga down the order.
Angelo Matthews.
A complete side that they had that time.
Yes, but credit goes to our fast and spin bowling. Shahid Afridi was the man of the match, as he said that. He was superbly first with the ball, 4 overs 20 for 1. Then Abdul Razak was good, Omar Gul was good, and Amer, the way he started early on, he took the wicket of Tilakaratne Dilshan. So I think you put pressure on the Sri Lankans, a really good side. Yes, Kumara Sangakkara, he struggled and he fought. But 138 was not okay on that time, because you know that whenever you talk about Pakistan is always a very unpredictable side. So when you are going 138 and you see that, I was pretty much amazed with the innings of Shahid Afridi, because he played some dots ball on that match, in that match actually. So, and everyone was thinking that now Afridi is going, now Afridi is going. No, he's not going. So he remained till the end of the game. I think he was his best innings for me, because when you're finishing the game coming up, and it was a big match, of course, you know, final, and all the, you know, nation, the eyes all on you. And honestly, Pakistan had a fantastic win against Sri Lanka, and credit goes, of course, you know, the captaincy was good, and
Captaincy really needs to, as you know, Sabir also mentioned that it was very important for us, considering what had happened, that Pakistan needed this victory. I think after that scoop shot from Misbah, where we lost to the final, that memory had to be erased somehow. So this was a very, very
still
important
you
victory.
cannot erase, honestly. You still, I mean, and it was the day of Misbah-ul Haq, as Sabir, if you do remember, that the way he hit 3 sixes in an over
I'm not
against.
I'm not talking about that. That is a scar that will forever be there. Captaincy. Let's talk about the captaincy. Some very particular decisions I want to talk about. First of all, Abdul Razak with the new ball alongside Mohammad Amir, who's a youngster. First decision. Second decision, promoting Shahid Afridi up the order. Third decision, bringing Shahzeb Hassan, and I don't know where Shahzeb Hassan is, but the fact is that he did do everything he could for Pakistan. So what would you like to say about the captaincy of Yunus Khan? And then, of course, he retired after this victory.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very courageous and brave decisions by Yunus Khan. You know, the way he basically made all 3-4 decisions which you mentioned basically. All basically were very critical. I mean, Shahzeb Hassan at that particular time was selected for, you know, World T20 big event. He was selected on the performance of domestic performance, I think. But I mean, obviously, Shahid Afridi, he was basically known as the big hitter, and he had to come at 6 or 7, you know, hit 2-3 balls. But I mean, he took responsibility. He knew the importance of this World Cup. The day Pakistan won against South Africa, I mean, we all were 100% sure that they're going to win against Sri Lanka, because we have something psychological, you know, edge over Sri Lanka. And the way they played against South Africa, it was fantastic. He was not, I mean, playing shots as far as T20 is concerned. But I mean, his captaincy was very, very important. Like in Aaron Finch, he's struggling with his batting, but obviously captaincy is very important. Steve Waugh, you just named so many captains. They were not performing, but I mean, they were captaining really well. It was a wonderful win. New generations basically emerged. Mohammad Amir's career started. I mean, Fawad Alam little bit contributed. The way he took the catch, I mean, I still remember every match. I mean,
Top gun fielder Fawad Alam.
Absolutely,
really, I think
absolutely.
we always talk about the fact that we use players in the wrong format, but we remembered that run out from the boundary that he made. He was an absolutely gun fielder when you talk about Fawad Alam, and really the contribution was there from every individual, and that's how teams win tournaments. And I think for Pakistan, England has always been favourite as a hunting ground. Then unpredictables, underdogs in the tournament, you know, going into the tournament, winning like this, people wouldn't have expected at a time when Pakistan needed it the most. Many questions do come up. But the team combination, Asif, what would you like to tell us about that? And then, of course, the big question, where is Shahzeb Hassan?
See, on a very good day when we are trying to memorize some good things, I don't want to talk about Shahzeb Hassan because he remained in the match fixing. And after that, he has been I think for a couple of years he has been banned from the Pakistan Cricket Board, and after that he did not. You can say that he was not able to come back in Pakistan. So he was a very good prospect. If we talk about his big shots,
Dream start in a World Cup.
Yes, we're looking for the big hitters apart from Shahid Afridi, because always question mark on his hitting, but that final was amazing. Jayasuriya always remained evergreen player, and you cannot see that he's getting old, because he's always getting younger whenever we talk about his bat. And how could we forget about his sixes over the third man over the point, especially against left-arm fast bowlers like Wasim Akram. So the selection was quite good, and then the day belongs to Pakistan, and Pakistan gave 100%. They were up to the mark with the fielding and the batting. They did well. You know that early on, Kamran Akmal, he played a nice innings, but later on, if you talk about the match-winning partnership between Afridi and Shoaib Malik, yeah, it was fantastic, and that's why we always say that the experience is still there. But the experience you talk in 2009 and now it's 2022, and if you're still thinking about the experience without playing any recent games, so don't go for there. I'm sure that you're getting my point, and I'm talking about Shoaib Malik.
I'm thinking of taking a break and then talking to you now about Shoaib Malik. That's a personal topic.
Talking about captaincy, I mean, in semi-final against South Africa, Yunus Khan brought Fawad Alam against Jack Callis. We all were shocked. I mean, oh my God. I mean, he was set. I mean, he was hitting the ball really hard. I mean, he was hitting to Abdur Razak, to Muhammad Amir as well. I mean, again, the brave captaincy. He basically gave the ball to Fawad Alam, and Fawad Alam basically was bowling really well at that time, and he had a hit for six as well. So I mean, again, a wonderful captaincy, brave captaincy. I mean, everybody is remembering Yunus Khan's captaincy.
I think one of the best memories that we have of cricket, and we keep on talking
without
about
sweets,
Again, well, he's got coffee. He's lucky enough to get a mixture of tea and coffee. Otherwise, he was just sitting, but he did offer me biscuits.
So, thanks to producer, we are celebrating.
Absolutely. The team is always there to facilitate everybody on this historic day. 13 years have passed, 2009, Lords and the home of cricket, Pakistan winning, celebrations throughout England, throughout the world, an iconic memory. And I still remember when the team returned with the trophy. They had a huge march as well, and it was absolutely great to see them.
Ahmed, by the way, where were you actually on that time?
Yeah.
You asked us. tell about yourself.
I was at home, as you said, huge bunch of friends over, cousins over, and at this very.
And were you hopeful about Shahid Afridi?
I was. I'll be very honest. I'm very optimistic.
He played against South Africa. Yeah.
Yes, I was very optimistic because I always thought that a guy like him is, of course, a risk factor. But even at that time, I believed he should play at number 3-4, not lower than that in T20 at least. So, we had that hunch. The only thing we were worried about was, of course, and I'll be very honest, even in the last, until Afridi hit that 6 to Muralidharan and to Udana on Ishru Udana to a slow delivery, that's when we had our hopes that, okay, finally we're going to win the match. Because like I said, quality side, Malinga in there, Mendes in there. I was more worried about Muralidharan and Afridi coming down the track and getting stumped.
And sir, credit goes to that particular gone to Sri Lankan as well, because they fought till the last over. I mean, hats off to Sri Lankan as well.
But they've always fought. I think if you look at that side, they've been in those ICC tournaments. But like we say, iconic memories and will forever be there for generations to come. So of course, 13 years, but a chance to once again relive all of these memories as we've discussed. Moving on to some current cricket now. Sri Lanka's batting is underway against Australia in the fourth one-day international of the 5-match series at the Pramadasa Stadium. Australia won the toss. They're bowling first. And when you talk about the current scenario, in 44.1 overs, Sri Lanka is 230 for 7. And as we talked about, Asalanka, he's on 99 not out, just one away from his century. And he's joined by Hasaranga at 7 not out. They've lost just one more wicket recently. So they're cruising. They've got a good chance right now. We'll see that how the match progresses. Of course, Australia's batting is yet to come. Sri Lanka quality side. I'll be very honest, Sabir, in the past couple of days, I've been very impressed.
They have been fantastic. I mean, hats off to like captaincy of Yunus Khan we're talking about. I mean, now the captaincy of Shanaka. He has been a wonderful prospect for Sri Lankan cricket. I mean, the way he batted in the third T20 against Australia. I mean, they needed 56 something. I mean, in 4 overs. I mean, he batted superbly. I mean, for me, the good thing was the crowd was happy. Sri Lankan basically they have been struggling in economic conditions as well. But I mean, I was happy for Sri Lankan fans. I mean, Sri Lankan nation as well. So I was quite happy. I mean, as far as Sri Lankan young talent is concerned, I mean, good to see Sri Lanka. He played wonderfully well. And now today, I mean, I'm quite hopeful that he will make 100. And in previous match, Nisanka as well, he made a wonderful century, and they chased down 290 plus score. I mean, good to see Sri Lankan basically young talent. Basically, they are performing. We have seen so many greats in Arjuna Ranatunga or Tunga Grusena as well. Arvinda De Silva, Jayawardene, Sangakkara, Russell Arnold as well. And bowling department, Chamida was, you just name it. Muralidharan, Rangana Herath as well. Now the new generation of Sri Lankan cricket basically they are emerging against good team like Australia. And their home crowd, they have been struggling in economic conditions as well. But I mean, overall, a very good performance. I'm quite hopeful that they will do better.
Let's talk about Sri Lanka, Asif. And of course, I know you'll comment on the entire game right now as well in Sri Lanka side. But Sri Lanka so far made his debut in 2021 against England. So far, he's played 3 test matches. Not much there, but 14 one-day internationals with an average of 41.4 and a strike rate of above 88. If you just look at his career, 20 T20s, 43 first-class games before getting his debut, 72 List A games at an average of above 40, 60 T20s domestically he played as well. So that experience was there, and immediately comes into the side and against Australia. And you just mentioned it's a complete bowling lineup that's playing.
Your question creating another question, and that is that when in Pakistan, you see the record that how Pakistani players, especially domestic players, they're getting debuts. They're just performing in PSL and just coming to the Pakistan side.
Well, 2 conditions. One, playing PSL, picking up 3-4 wickets. Second condition, bowling 150.
150, yes. So on the other side, the Sri Lankan, this is called your planning that you are giving a debut after 43 matches, 43 first-class matches. That means a lot. And 70, you said that List A matches, that. And that's why he's performing, and see the average in 14 matches, playing with 41, the strike rate is above 80. What does it mean? That he is playing his role. And that we're going to score 100 tonight, this evening. And of course, that he'll be supporting Sri Lankan side when your rest of the players, Kusal Mendes, he didn't play well.
Asif, congratulations, he just scored 100 on 99 deliveries.
Tremendous innings. Well done. And this is called your spirit. This is called your team player, that when you see and you're taking responsibility that early on, all the main players, they didn't perform well. You are there, you're performing well, it means that you got the quality.
Absolutely, and coming at a very important number, at number 5, which Pakistan has got a huge problem with right now, what we keep on discussing. But I think congratulations to Sri Lanka and Sri Lanka. They've got 5 overs still left, 45 overs, 236 for 7. If they go all guns blazing, get about 40-50 runs, they're going to make a respectable total, and they've got the quality and the fielding to defend it as well. Moving on to the test match now, West Indies managed to beat Bangladesh by 7 wickets. They lost 3 wickets in pursuit of a target of 84 runs. Of course, Bangladesh were disappointing in the first innings, bowled for just merely 100 plus runs. Then, of course, in the second made a comeback, more than 200, but nothing there that could probably take that test match. Bangladesh slumping in consistency, and West Indies improving in the test format, which is surprising.
I mean, talk about Bangladesh, they have been struggling. They have been struggling for a couple of series, I think. They struggled against Pakistan as well, a couple of series ago. But in shorter format, in T20, I mean, they are quite, good team. They beat against to Australia, to New Zealand as well on their home conditions. But I mean, in test matches, in longer format, they have been struggling. I mean, again, captaincy. Their captain, Nominal Haq, basically, he's not performing, to be very honest. Letan Das, Mushfiqur Rahim, even the Shakib Al Hasan, he's not performing. So when talk about their fielding, I mean, they dropped more than 10 catches in a test match. I mean, they have given 3 chances to West Indian captain, I mean, to 0, 16 and 67 something, and he made a useful 90 plus match winning knock. I mean, so I mean, their fielding is struggling. Their youngsters are not coming up to perform, and their captain as well. Their senior pros as well. So I mean, they are basically really struggling. They need to step up, and they are a good team basically. They have a very good coaching staff like selector Habibul Bashar. He was also quite amazed the way basically they dropped the catches. I mean, they have been struggling really.
Well, he was amazed, but one thing is for sure, that even if nothing is working, the captain Shakib Al Hasan scored a 63, and of course in vain, didn't help with the match.
Yes, of course, that a very simple formula in test cricket. We'd have to take 20 wickets if you want to win. And this is what Windies done. And Kima Roach, always I love to watch his bounces.
The action.
The action.
The
you know.
iconic chain.
Yeah. And his celebration as well.
Genuine fast bowler.
Yes.
Genuine fast bowler. That's right. And you know, the Bangladeshi team, like Pakistanis, they are inconsistent with his performances. And Momin ul Haq, Clayton Das, they would have to perform, and Tamim Iqbal. So if their batters are performing well, getting good runs, so and making good total in the board, of course, then it will be helpful for the fast bowlers.
But as the world has rated West Indies always as a T20 particular side. But here, if I just look at the first innings, Craig Brathwaite scoring 94. He played 268 deliveries. Followed by that, coming down, Jermaine Blackwood, 63 on 139 deliveries. Then, of course, Nicola Bonner scoring 33 of 96 deliveries. These are new generation of cricketers that know how to build an innings for the West Indies.
Same Brathwaite who hit 3 sixes against Ben Stokes in T20 final. Do you
No,
remember
that was Carlos Brathwaite.
And
this is Craig Brathwaite.
This is Craig
Yes.
Brathwaite. And the Carlos Brathwaite hit 3 sixes, and I do remember that. And the Craig Brathwaite, he's playing 260 ball just for the...
Right.
Yeah.
For the side.
No.
Yeah.
The important thing is to stay on the wicket.
And
just-
occupy the innings. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Great having both of you and
Thank you.
celebrating cricket, of course. On that note, we'll go towards a short break, but we will be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now to discuss tennis. It's the biggest event of the tennis season, and it is the Wimbledon that is just around the corner now. And of course, news that has distraught fans is that Naomi Osaka has pulled out, citing an Achilles injury, and she won't be playing. 4 times Grand Slam winner, just played 17 matches this entire season, and ranking also plummeting down to 43 is something to be worried about. But then, of course, it's an injury which is serious and is going to hold her for some time as well. But career has been on and off. And we'll be discussing this further in detail. We've been joined on Sports Extra by fellow anchor, tennis player as well. The iconic Mehak Khokar is joining us. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Welcome, Ahmed. How are you?
I'm good, long time.
I know, long time indeed.
So I'm sure because you've been a big fan of these next-gen tennis players, including Naomi Osaka, Ons Jabeur and everybody else, it is a bit disappointing because you expect somebody like Naomi to come and dominate Wimbledon.
Definitely. You know, we've seen how she's been missing in action in quite a few Grand Slams in the past because of, you know, her mental health. She was making that a priority. And like you said, her ranking has gone down a lot. And we know what a remarkable player she is. I feel like when she's at her best, it's very, very hard to beat her. We've seen that in the past. But at the end of the day, it is an injury. You know, it's not in her control. She really did want to play Wimbledon, but she's not able to play it. However, there is one thing that may be in her benefit when it comes to ranking. There are no ranking points this time being given in Wimbledon. So that's good, I guess, in a way, because she won't be losing any points. She won't be gaining any points because she's not playing anyway. So I think that will definitely benefit her, and then she can just really focus on her recovery, and hopefully she can be ready for the hardcourt season in the last Grand Slam of the year, which is the US Open.
Well, it's been a tricky career with her, coming onto the scenes and taking the tennis world by storm. People started saying if the change of guard is going to happen from Serena, it's going to go to Naomi Osaka. People had these comparisons as well.
Yeah.
Then, of course, came in this big saga with the media and, you know, walking out of tournaments, then coming back, fighting those mental health issues and confidence, and then, of course, an injury. So it's been a very tricky career for her so far.
Definitely, but you know, that's what it is when you are in any field. I mean, not just sport, but especially tennis, because it's so, I would say, it's so strenuous in your body. You know, the sport itself, it's known to be one of the toughest sports in the world. So even though, yes, she had her mental battles, she knew she had to prioritize that. But then let's not forget your body and what a toll it takes on you physically. And you know, this happens to all tennis players, where yes, you'll be in and out. Like even with Nadal, you know, he continues playing with a foot injury. And yeah, he's fine to be back, but we've even got like Zverev who won't be coming back just because, you know, that unfortunate incident that happened to him in the French Open. So yeah, for Naomi Osaka, it's definitely been a very up and down career. But, you know, she's still young. She's still got time on her hands. We do know what she's capable of. She's shown us in the past with, you know, her 4 Grand Slams. She's got those to her name already at her young age. Like you said, she came in, she took the tennis world by storm. So I really think she would be definitely still someone to watch out for, because like I said, when she is at her best, she is very difficult to defeat.
For a tennis player, people really need to understand this, because obviously they see it from a fan's perspective, but tennis is an individual sport and there's so much going into physically and mentally.
Yes, definitely.
For a tennis player, when you're being talked about in the world as being one of the best now, and you're into an injury, and I think in the past most person who suffered is probably Rafael Nadal, but we know who the champion he is. How much of resilience you need on the mental side to fight this? Because during that time you're not playing.
Yes, so you know, there's off-court mental resilience which you need, and then there's on-court as well. And we know that tennis now, the way it's advanced, majority of it is fitness and your mind, right? Because everybody can really hit a forehand and a backhand, you know, you've been doing something for so long, but you have to be mentally very strong in matches, and the players that are mentally stronger are the ones that will come out on top and win those matches. We've seen that many, many times. You know, that happens on every level. No matter what level you're playing at, you have to be mentally very strong. You can have the best game, but if you're not mentally the strongest, you will lose to maybe a player who's not as good as you when it comes to skills or when it comes to, you know, so it's a very mental game and obviously fitness oriented game. You have to be extremely fit. But then when we're talking about off court, when you have these kind of issues that come up, it can really take a toll on you mentally. You know, you're so used to doing something day in and day out. You have a routine, and suddenly, unexpectedly, you know, a mishap happens and your routine changes. And I think that is extremely difficult. I've been through that before, you know, where I had a wrist injury. Doctors told me and actually in America, doctors had told me when I was in university there that you may not be able to play ever again. And 9 months later, you know, I would do rehab. It wasn't getting fixed. 9 months later, I got acupuncture done, and surprisingly, it got fixed. I don't know how that worked, but it was a miracle. It was a guy that came from California just for a week. I went to him, and it was a miracle. So I know what can happen to you when you're so used to your routine, you're so used to being an athlete since you were at such a young age, and then all of a sudden your routine switches and you don't know when you're going to be able to be back, when your injury is going to heal, when you'll be able to compete again. And then of course, you know, if it's wherever you're injured, you can't work in that muscle. So, you know, and all these other players are still working hard, and so basically you're going to have to start kind of from scratch when you do come back.
I was going to ask this, because then when you're coming back, it's all over that process again.
Yes.
And probably since the time you come back, tennis is changing at such a rapid pace, and then you got to adjust to the environment as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and then there's new players coming out into the scene that, you know, you haven't played, and you're going to go and compete against them. And then let's not forget the media pressure. You know, a lot of people are talking about media pressure when it comes to Emma Raducanu. So we've even got the media pressure that even though you're away after an injury, you know, the media and all the fans are watching you, that what are you going to be able to capable of delivering once you do come back. But yeah, it's really tough, because then you have to kind of start from scratch. You have to start strength training in the gym, your fitness, then of course playing, you know, even though it's muscle memory at the end of the day. So I guess it is easier to get back into it than if it was, you know, you were just not an athlete. But at the end of the day, it's still really hard, because, you know, your muscles have gotten that break. You have to get everything back to the top. So yeah, it definitely does take a toll on your body.
What about Wimbledon this year? What are your predictions, if there are any? I know it's going to be hard to pick, but so many places that are vying. Andy Murray hopes to make a return in prime form. Djokovic the top seed. Daniel Medvedev missing out due to political reasons, and then Alexander Zverev also out injured.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are quite a few top players that are not there, and that's why, because of political reasons, they've taken ranking points away, which I think was fair, because I did not agree for them to ban Russian players from playing. It didn't make sense to me. But, you know, Djokovic is coming back. Yes, he wants to defend his title. We know how great he is on grass, but at the same time, he hasn't had the same amount of match play that he has before when he's come out and he's won those tournaments. We even saw, you know, like, obviously match play and match practice makes a huge difference. Nadal, on the other hand, you know, we didn't know if he was going to be fit enough to play Wimbledon, but thankfully for me, he is fit enough to play. But then again, you know, clay and grass, hard and grass, two completely different surfaces. And then we've got Zverev, who was playing, I would say, exceptionally well. I think he was playing the best I have ever seen him play. Very unfortunate incident what happened to him at the
But
French
surgery
Open.
on torn ligaments in his right
Yes,
ankle.
exactly. So, it's very unfortunate for him, and just the way he slipped, and, it was just not the best sight to see. Really wishing him a speedy recovery still. And then we've even got Carlos Alcaraz, the new player that everybody's eyes are on. So I think it's going to be very unpredictable this time. And usually on the men's side, it is very predictable. We know on the women's side, it's unpredictable, which I would say the women's side is still unpredictable. But
Who are you vying for there?
in the women's side,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Apparently Serena's making a comeback.
Yeah.
So let's see. But then again, like I said, lack of match play. But you never know. You can expect anything from Serena. She can just come out and overpower everybody and just
Either
show
a
her
tournament
dominance.
victory or a first round exit.
Yeah, you never know. But I would say I think Ons is playing really well.
Yeah.
So I think she definitely has a chance. She's come out and she's won the warm-up tournaments before. She's undefeated, I think, so far in grass. And then, of course, on the men's side, let's not forget Matteo Berrettini. He's coming back from his injury, and he came out with a bang. He's won back-to-back 2 grass court tournaments just before Wimbledon.
The Queen's
Championship.
Championship,
Queen's Championship, and then before that he won as well. So, yeah, we've got quite a few potential players.
But you did
that
talk
will
about
affect
Nadal,
us.
and I particularly saw some of the videos where he was training for Wimbledon on
Yeah.
grass courts. I've never seen him this confident, I'll be very honest. I
Well,
think it's done wonders how he's won the last Grand
Seriously,
Slam.
I mean, I think if anybody was Nadal at this point, they would be, really
Supercharged.
Supercharged and full of confidence. You can't blame him. He's the only man with 22 Grand Slam titles. And he really doesn't have anything to lose, I believe, at this point. Even if, let's say, Djokovic does win another Grand Slam, he's still not going to be breaking his record, And then we know at the US Open, Nadal is a favourite anyway. But that's not the point. The point is, I mean, he doesn't have really anything to lose. Of course, we know Nadal. He always gives not 100%, but 110% on every point in every match. So he's definitely going to have his eyes on the prize. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he will be full of confidence.
But Novak knows this, that probably the only thing standing in his way from another Wimbledon would be Nadal.
It would
Might
be Rafael Nadal.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, Djokovic beat Nadal at French Open, right? It was shocking. It was, oh my God, how did Nadal lose? This year, Nadal beat him in 4 sets. It was an amazing match, but it only went up to 4 sets. And I think even now, Djokovic knows, because Nadal's been absolutely sensational in 2022. He's already won the first 2 Grand Slams of the year. Novak Djokovic has been missing in action for quite a while because of, all the things that were going on. Nadal has had more matches under his belt. His confidence will definitely be higher than Djokovic's. So yes, I think Djokovic knows in his head that the main man standing between him and him defending his title is Nadal. But I would not write off the rest of the contenders like Matteo Berrettini. Zverev's not there, but Tsitsipas, you can still give him a shout on that. And there's Alcaraz as well. There's quite a few other players as well.
Yeah, but we all know who you're rooting for, so
course,
that's no
Nadal.
secret
Yeah,
anymore.
that's
But
never
Meg-
been a secret.
Yeah, but thank you very much for joining
Thank you
us.
for having
Always
me.
great
Thank you
having
so
you on the
much.
show.
Thank you.
Well, Meg has put it right, and of course it's still unpredictable, but El Matador will be El Matador for a reason. And Nadal has mustered up even more support now since his victory against Djokovic at the French Open. And Novak did say being number 1 is best and worst at the same time. So you never know. It's going to be an interesting Wimbledon. It's sad to see many players missing out due to injury. Now, before we go, one last thing that we're going to share with you is the fact that the Commonwealth Games 2022 are going to take place, and the PSB, Pakistan Sports Board, is going to finalize its contingent on the 24th of June. What they've proposed is 104 players and officials to travel, and Pakistan last time won 4 bronze and 1 gold medal in the last edition, and of course performed very well. So very hopeful, and all the best to the men in green. That's it for this edition of Sports Extra from me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.